I can hear you, Sess. I can hear everything. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Ori. I'm your host, Ori, and happy Monday. It's been a little difficult uh, programming and getting on. Uh, Monday, the lights went out of my house. I don't know what was going on, but anyway, I want to thank you all for showing up today. And I want to talk about something that's been on my mind. And I actually had a conversation with my godson today. And besides talking to him, I've had a lot of different type of verbal, not verbal, I wouldn't say verbal conversations as much as I would say different verbal agendas, or not even agendas, that's not even the right word. I would say like little verbal menus of things that have been going on. Something that I've been noticing a lot with people since this epidemic has taken place is, hey Kat, that people, hey Ron, is that people have been having an awakening, but not the type of spiritual awakening. I think it's more of a lessons of awakenings, or bits and pieces of lessons that have made me go back in the archives of my brain to show me where I was, where I've been, where I am, and which way I would like to be heading. So this, although it's about doing as much as you do, that people tend to not either be satisfied or it's just not enough. It's more about waking up and realizing that you are not responsible to do more than you should. There are very many scenarios that we can talk about, but I want to talk about a scenario. I want to give you many scenarios, but one of the scenarios I want to talk about is about work, and sometimes the disappointments of work with people. You can work in a company, you can work in school system, you can work in many different systems, and you can be a bright person and give 100% or 110 of yourself, and yet no matter what you do, people really don't acknowledge 100% of what you do. They acknowledge only when you screw up. So if you do 1,000 things right and then you do one thing wrong, they're going to acknowledge the wrong thing more, or they're going to emphasize more on the negative that you did rather than all the good things you did. And that is not something that is not something that is Corales, all of you guys, hello and thank you for joining me this week. All of these things that people have, expectations that people have, and when they're your bosses or your managers and they make you feel like you don't meet those expectations, that is not a you problem. That's a their problem. Because it seems the more things change in the world, the more things stay the same. So everything repeats itself. You get to see when a person is miserable, they want to make your life just as miserable. When a person at work or persons at work are insecure because you're doing a great job and they're assuming that you're trying to take their jobs, then they start to get funny and they start pushing you aside. You know, sometimes we have to take that leap of faith and speak our minds and not just leave things alone. Sometimes we have to say what we have to say. We have to not you have to think about the people, even though you have to think about the people that come after you, even though sometimes other people will say, well, why? It has nothing to do with you. Why even worry about it? You're not there anymore. Let it go. No, you shouldn't let it go, because you have to think, if you're a good humanitarian, you have to think about, what am I leaving behind for the next person or the next people, or the people that come after me? What am I leaving behind? Well, you're leaving behind a mess, because you never were able to confront the people for the stuff that they've done to you. You just moved on without even looking back. In this society, that the society that we have allowed to take root, this society dictates to us what is right and what is wrong and what is important and what is not. You know, society dictates that you have to have a master's degree to do all these things, or you know, a doctorate, or some type of degrees. But technically, you don't have to have any of that. There are smarter people that are not educated than people that are educated out there. And the ones that are educated sometimes seem to forget their place. They lose their place. And they'll constantly try to remind you, well, you know, I'm the teacher, so this is, you know your place. Well, if you're not giving your employees, or you're not giving people that you care about some type of emotional compensation, it's not about financial, and letting them know that how important they are, or how important their job is, then all you're doing is you're playing games that either have been played on you, or games that you go through on a regular basis, whether it be with your job, whether it be with your family, whether it be with your kids, games that you've been played with, that psychologically it's in your mind, and then you want them to feel, you want to shame them because you're being shamed. So yeah, Kat, a lot of people deal with that. Now, the one advice that I have for people is this: we all have a talent. And if you can find your talent and not be afraid to push the limit and walk away and start your own, then obviously that speaks volumes of your character inside. It speaks volumes of the fear that you have of not being able to do what I do. I mean, what you can do. I use this scenario because, like I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. When I had to leave my job, it was because of a lot of things that were going on in my life, personal and emotional, and I resigned. But I was afraid. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was a reader. I was a reader. I made I wasn't making money, but it wasn't until, this person that, I've known for a long time, and she's very wise. And she said, why are you afraid? I mean, what you do best, do what you do and feel good about what you do and make it into that can become your job. And eventually it did. And it, for many years, that I was not on any type of disability or anything. I mean, that's how I survived. I survived by doing what I did. Didn't have a problem. Things moved well. Things were moving. Things were changing. Things were shifting. So it was a really big deal because I actually stepped by faith and not by sight. So I was able to make these things happen. Now, there are people out there that are lost and they're confused and they're going through a lot of things. And you guys are talented in many different ways. Follow your talent. Don't be afraid to step out on faith. It doesn't really matter how many times you fall, because falling is not failure. Falling is not failure. Falling is just a way of God letting you know that, okay, so you fell, you're not lazy, get up, dust yourself off, and let's start again. So it gives you an opportunity. Every time you fall not out of grace, you fall into grace. And the more you fall into grace, the easier it becomes for you to choose your way. And your so-called failures, which are the times that you fall, become your weapon. So, there's a saying that says hard head makes soft asses. Well, there is a right way of taking that, and there's a wrong way of taking that. I look at it as, after a while, falling, your ass don't hurt anymore because, you keep falling, your ass becomes like a cushion. That's just one of the scenarios that I look at now. I'm going to give you another scenario that it's a scenario that really bothers me. And I'm going to go and explain to you about what I've seen and how I see it. People may agree, people may not agree. People may disagree. I find, that Hispanic and Blacks alike, we have the tendency within ourselves to try to always discourage, disappoint, or create a demise for what we're doing to benefit themselves. In other words, demise, they try to kill our dream. They try to take responsibility to take or take our ideas and pretend that it's their ideas. And then they make you go through these things where they lie on you, or they do this or they do the other. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is no one is you. You're an original. You're not a copy of anything. You're an original. No one can copy you. They can mimic you, but they can't really be you. They can never provide the service that you can provide 100%. They're going to always try to take. And that's the one thing that brings our people down, Hispanics and Blacks alike. We have an idea, we try to nurture people and we try to teach them, but then they take our ideas and then they push it upon themselves. They don't want no part of what I do, but then when they get familiar with it, then they want to not just be, they don't try to be like I try to teach other people. They want to be better. And then they start even treating you which means me, the individual, as if they're better than me. And that used to bother me a long time ago, but it doesn't bother me anymore, because at the end of the day, it is sad when you see your own people never trying to see you achieve anything. What's worse is that when you see people that are your own people, that are really jacked up, messed up, their ideas, their thought patterns, the way they are, the way they feel, the way that they really, the real them, which is the natural essence of their humanity. And you start to see that they're either mean spirited, or they don't have a good disposition, or they're just miserable and they're unhappy because they don't have a partner, and to them everything, their partner means the world. And they go through this misery, and they see that you're happy by yourself. They try to convince you that you're by yourself, but you're not really happy. So I know this to be true because I've fallen into that gamut a lot of times, until I realized that I'm quite comfortable living the way that I live. I'm quite comfortable living how I live, with who I live, which is myself and my deities and spirits, spirits, angels, guides. I'm happy. I'm quite content. But overall, I'm quite content of myself, and quite content with the things that I've achieved in life, for myself, by myself. And although, like I said, although I've had people that have guided me to a certain degree, they have taken more from me than guided me more. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but yeah, they tend to take more of you than to guide you. And then down the line, they try to take what belongs to you and change the name and create it as if it's their idea, their thoughts, they something that they put into practice and something they've been doing. You can't get mad at copies. You can't. Because copies will always be a copy. Copies will always be copycats. They will copy from everything and anyone that they run across. They're never going to really do anything that is of their own creation, because they don't know how, because they're monkeys of habit. And what I mean by that is they see something and they repeat it. They learn something and they repeat it, and they take it and they make it seem as it's something they created, something that they pushed, something that they wanted to do. So what I can say is that, there are, and it's true, Dr. D, there are a lot of copycats, and unfortunately it happens with our own people. Our own people have been pushed to believe that the only way that they can survive is by taking from ourselves, and which is something I've never understood. Why do the poor take from the poor? Why not take from the rich? But it's easier to oppress people that don't have and keep them oppressed by pushing them down when you yourself are oppressed. But because you're a con artist, or you're a compulsive liar, or you're just compulsive in the things that you do, you're used to taking from people, so you do it, and at the end, it doesn't end up well. It doesn't end up well for you, even though you think that by taking things from other people, it's going to make you end well. It's not, because people may admire the work that you're doing, but when it comes time for you to create the same job, or the same teachings, or something different based on the same teachings or the same principles, you don't know the principles, because you took the idea from the original person and tried to make it yours. Yeah, you have to take your authentic self, because when you are your authentic self, you can generate money. But people that copy can only pull it off for so long before people start to notice the flaws, and that's what people try to avoid. Now, um, another thing is another scenario is friendships, family. You know, you have friendships, you take them in, you help them, you guide them, you mentor them, and at the end of the day, they give you their ass to kiss, and that's the only way that I can put it. You know, they don't call, but they expect you to call. They don't reach out, but they expect you to reach out. They don't make an effort to see how you're doing, but they expect you to make an effort and push yourself to see how they're doing, which is not a catch-22, but it's more of an invisible ignorance. When you love people, when you have friends, you don't have to call your friends 5 times a day, not even once a week. You know, you call them when you have time to talk to them, and if they're truly your friends, then you will realize that all the information that needs to be given when you guys do meet each other or when you guys are together, then that's something that will come slowly, but it will come. But when you expect things of a friendship, but yet you're saying you don't expect anything of them, but in reality you do, that also speaks volumes of the kind of person you are. So you have to really look at these things, how they are for and for what they are, or just the energy of what they're emanating. Sometimes the energy may seem good, but a lot of times the energy is not good. So therefore, you have to always be clear-minded of the things that you're doing and the things that you want to do to move forward. It's the same thing as it is in a relationship. You know, which is another scenario. You know, you cannot blame your partners, that the partner you have now, for the mistakes you've made, not them, you've made the mistakes you've made in your past that has made you become the person you are now. It is not anyone's responsibility to try to figure out what happened in your relationship. It's up to you to come to terms with everything that has happened and move forward, because it's important. Sometimes we have friends for a season, and sometimes we have to weather the storm and then let go of the people that we care about. Why? Because sometimes the most toxic people are the ones that you call your friends, or the ones that are family. Those can become the most toxic. And when you hear them talk, and you know them for a long time, and you hear them talk about certain things, and you start to understand that the same way you are, they are becoming. Sometimes it's flattering, sometimes it is not flattering. Sometimes it causes a backlash. Sometimes it causes you to digress back to being your, I don't know, hateful self, ignorant self, sad self. And anybody who has that power over you should never be in your life. You shouldn't be around people that have the ability to push buttons and know which buttons to push to hurt you. It's not a good way to be. It's not a good place to be. It just is very tedious and very foul. I can tell you that for every action, there is an equal or greater reaction. So if you do harm, eventually, yeah, truly team yourself. I believe that. So when you see these things that go on, and people try to take your identity, and it's not really taking your identity, it's taking your ideas and making it theirs. And it could be because they have the money to do it more than you have. Or they just feel like they need to be the ones to be in that position. Whatever the case may be, I think it is time that we all gather together and we need to start asking spirit angels and guides to help you retrieve your power back. You know, there are many ways of making things shift for the better. There are many ways to realize within yourself just by sitting back. Because a lot of times when people don't realize what's going on in their life, it's because they're not paying attention. They're only looking at the person, and they're so intrigued by what the person sounds like that they lose themselves, and then they try to copy you because they want you to realize that they are like you. But in reality, they're not like you. There's only one you. The rest are imitations. Now, what I can tell you is you have to take a deep breath and you have to decide what it is that you want to do, like truly do. Okay? And then walk by faith. Because without that, we have nothing. I can tell you that there is a chant, and I will walk you through it so that you can better understand it and you can better understand who you are and where you're supposed to be. Now, it's 8:28. In a couple of minutes, literally a couple of minutes, the commercial is going back on. And then after we do the commercial, I want to teach you some breathing exercises, and I want to give you it's not even a mantra, it's more of a breathing and sounding off just to release negative energy so that you are able to fight back with peace of mind and grace. So you can't really be afraid of the things that are coming at you or the people that are coming at you sideways, because people will do to you what you allow them. And angry people become angrier. And hurt people because that's just the nature of the beast. And the confusion sets in when you're aware of a lot of things that are happening. But you have to be aware, because chanting or praying will help to remove that toxicity. Okay, so it's 8:30, so we're going to go to commercial now. When we come back, I will prepare you for this chanting. Okay. So like like I was saying to you, um, I gave you a few scenarios, and I'm going to give you another scenario. When you're following a teacher or a professor or a spiritual leader, whether it be the Catholic Church, whether it be um, Muslims or Jews or whatever the case may be, they're extremists. They're extremists in everything. I was watching a movie yesterday called The King of. I can hear you. I was watching this movie called The King of Harlem, which is based on a true story. And this gentleman, although he was a drug dealer and whatever, and he was friends with Malcolm X. And I saw the everything from the death of Kennedy, how it affected blacks, how it affected the Latinos, how it affected many people. But I also saw where Malcolm X pledged himself to become the follower of Elijah Muhammad. And unfortunately, if you really look at everything, plus these are there are actual documents and things like that. It was more like do as I say, not as I do. But you can't tell people help your people, and then when you start to help them politically, uh, basically ban him from socializing with people for 90 days or whatever because you want to help your people. So either you're going to get shit or get off the pot. You're going to do one or the other. Either you're going to help humanity or you're going to help them only when it's convenient for you to help them, which is something that happens a great deal. You go out of your way, your bosses teach you the craft, you end up learning it more and better than them. People start to respect you more and like you more. And then all of a sudden, what happens? People get jealous, like you're trying to take from them, and they turn everything around or turn everything upside down, and then you're screwed. That's not where you want to be. That's not what you want to do. That's not how you want to enjoy your life, or you should enjoy your life. You shouldn't. None of that should be relevant. You shouldn't enjoy your life that way. You shouldn't. You should just be at peace with yourself. Now, I'm going to talk you through this exercise that starts from inside here, inside just your gut, the solar plex, and I want you to put your right hand. In this exercise, I want you to put your right hand on your tummy, and then I want you to take 3 deep breaths, like you take it in through the nose, and then you release it slowly. You repeat it again, and then you release it. You do it again, and then you release it. And in this, we're going to do a sounding mantra, but we're also going to do tapping. And the tapping that we're going to do is here, so that this part of the third eye, some people look at it, this as the third eye, some people say this is the third eye. So we're going to use this eye here, okay? So we're going to open it by tapping, but we're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to say, no. And you're going to be, as you were saying, as you're taking a deep breath, and you're saying, no has a vibration. No basically letting the universe know, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to worry about me. But you have to put your hand on your solar plexus and your stomach, and you have to hold it tight. As you're releasing it, hold it tight, but you continue to tap. Why? Because you're releasing from your solar plex. All the negative is coming up. You're releasing it in the no. And at the same time, you're opening up this chakra right here, which is very important, so that you'll be able to see things how they really are without having to worry about people judging you, or people saying things, or people trying to belittle you, or people trying to steal your work. So it's a saying, it's a gay saying where it says, learn your fabrics. Basically what it's letting you know is learn who you are. Learn what you give. Learn what you're about. Learn the ability and the strength that you have. Learn it. Because nobody's going to teach you. You have to learn it. So let's begin. Remember, take a deep breath. Release it. Take another deep breath. As deep as you can. Release. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Now release it. Put your right hand on your solar plex, and like where the belly button is, and just like your hand, as you can see, my hand here on the gut. So put your hand on your solar plex. Remember your index finger to start to tap right here, right in the center. Okay, it can be right above the eyebrow, between the middle here. Just go right above it. And as you take a deep breath, you start with the no. Remember, it's like no, as long as you can do it. Again, take a deep breath. No. Again, take a deep breath. And while you're doing this, envision your body or things around you being like an onion, peeling layer by layer. So you take a deep breath, you push down in your solar plexus, you start to tap, and then you just go, no. And then you repeat it. This will help you to open up this part of the chakra, which some people call it the third eye. I personally believe the third eye is here, but a lot of people believe that it's here. So you do this, and you try to do it every day. You try to make a list of things that are not making you happy, people, places, and things that you have let go of that are still renting space in your head. My dear friends, nothing should be laying dormant in your brain or renting space in your head, especially with no money. If you're going to rent space in my head, you need to pay for it. If you're not going to pay for it, I don't want it. So again, remember, take a deep breath, hold your solar plexus as tight as you can with one hand, tap, no. That should help to clear your mind. It is very important that you clear your mind every day, even if it's just one no, maybe two. But I suggest at least three will help you. And another exercise that I would like for you to do is I would like for you to guys to write down the things that you want, the things that you want to achieve, but yet you're afraid to achieve them for some reason or another. Maybe you feel like you're a hostage, and like a hostage of someone or a situation. Don't push yourself to that point where you start to believe that other people can control you, because people can't control you. People try to control you. They do. So people that try to control you because they feel that they can, they feel that they're stronger than you, they feel that compared to them, you're nothing. That's not necessarily true. I believe that people who are constantly trying to bring people down and destroy them are the people who are nothing, and the people who have nothing, and the people who are miserable. Misery loves company. And when you run across somebody who's constantly telling you, oh, you can get over it, you can move forward, and come to the house and help, you lose yourself. You don't want to lose yourself in anybody's dream, anybody's goal. You want to keep yourself moving in your dimension. Stay in your lane. I know people hear that all the time. Stay in your lane, because people nowadays are very toxic. People nowadays want to see how far they can push you. People nowadays will use you by any means necessary to get things out of you. Don't let anyone push you, because nobody is more important than you are in your life. No one in your life should be more important than you. If people are not bringing anything to the table, because the reality is like people will come, people will use you any which way they can. People will come to your house, they will eat your food, and food is nothing, but people will come and eat your food, and they're not contributing anything. They're just used to you doing for them. You can never allow anyone to be that comfortable where they feel that you are obligated to do for them. You're not obligated to do for anyone. You're not obligated to change anything for anyone. You're not obligated to give them advice. You're not obligated to do any of that. You're only obligated to be yourself. No one else. There is a war coming, and this war is filled with pain and sorrow. And it will continue to be that way for a long time to come. So you have to keep yourself grounded, and envision a wall. Envision a wall between all of you guys. And every day, as you're saying no, envision that wall pushing everything outward. It's pushing it outward. And that's what you need. You need to think about these things, because these things are the most important things ever. You people out there, my dear friends and my followers, do you have any questions for me before we go? We have a few more minutes, so I want to make sure. Does anyone have a question? Please feel free to ask. No, I guess not. Well, hello? The one thing that I want to say to you is, hello? It's very loud. Hello, hello. Ooh. Oh. There's too much echo. Too much.
song.
I don't know what's wrong. It's echoing too much. It's too much interference.
I know. I was trying to switch computers.
Okay, so what's up?
Nothing. I just had to switch computers. It's
Oh,
done.
oh. So anyway, the one thing that you guys have to understand, you're not responsible unless you are a mother and you have children, small children. You're not responsible to make anyone happy except yourself. Learn that. You're not responsible for your spouse. You're not responsible for your husband. You're responsible for children because you gave birth to them. Unless you're a father, you fathered them. The children, there's no exception. When you have children, you have to you take care of your children no matter what. Mothers, no men come before your children. Fathers, if you put besides your wife, the mother of your children, if you put other women or other things before your children, then you're just as foolish as the mothers that actually put men before their children. Although a lot of people do it and they think that it's the right thing to do. And I say, shame on you, because you know what? Karma is real, and what you plant, whatever seeds you plant, you will reap what you sow. You will reap what you sow. So just remember that. And like I said, I'm not here to judge anybody because I don't really care. I'm just trying to give you the things that you need to think about, the tools. One, you have to come first, because if you're happy, everybody becomes happy. Secondly, you have to know that you're not put on this earth to be liked by everyone. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to like your attitude. Not everybody's going to like what you have to say. Sometimes you have to speak your mind in order for you to be heard. And it is okay to be heard and not seen. But sometimes it's good to be seen and not heard, just so that they know that you're watching. It's always important. Now, everyone has their own path that cannot be changed. It can be shifted a little bit, but it will never change. You have your own destiny. Destiny can be bent, but it cannot be changed. What is destined, it is. What you have to do, and what you have to give, and what you have to receive. Everything that comes to you is an ebb and flow of energy that comes through us by thinking, by feeling, by acknowledging, and keeping ourselves clear. So remember that we are impossible. We are impossible creatures because we have an impossible Father. So when you talk to Father God, you let him know, Father God, and then you say your name, because there's nothing more powerful than the I am. So I am, then you say your name, full name, special. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am this, I am that. I, so and so, will manifest this and that. And keep yourself focused on a very positive track. Okay, remember, we are the designers of our own legacies. And if we create a legacy for ourselves, we have to be able to understand the type of people that we bring into our lives and how they will connect to us and how they will make us better or they make us worse. Okay? And the key is nobody has the power or should have the power over you to hurt you or to make you do things, to say things, or make you feel a certain way. Okay? I think that when you are filled with love in your heart, and children do that, children feel you. When you are filled with love and an anticipation of goodwill, everything in your life starts to change for the better. And I think that as long as you understand that and you keep yourself focused, everything else is secondary. Everything else is like it comes later. So I don't think that it's something that you should really worry or drive yourself crazy about. I think it's very important that you understand that You are the most important thing for yourself. You are responsible for only one person, which is you. And like I said, if you have children, it's a different story. But if you're single and your children are already adults and you are either soon to be a single mom or a single dad, don't try to hold on to things that become toxic. You know, sometimes children can become toxic, but it's your own creation because you enable them. And when children are enabled, they become codependents. And when you stop to give them what you've always given them, they feel that you are hurting them, which I don't know how they will get that idea, but they just feel like you're hurting them. So at the end of the day, keep yourself focused, keep yourself moving. Don't forget to do the breathing and the no. And as you're doing the no, hold your solar plex, but in your mind, you start to map out what you don't want in your life. As you're saying no, so that everything can be taken away, that the universe can take its time to remove things from your life, because it's very, very important that you do that. You know, you also cannot live life feeling guilty about things. It's a waste of human emotion. It's a waste of human emotion because you're going to spend your life chasing your tail trying to figure out, you know, when is my turn, or am I okay? Am I a good person? You are a good person. If you have to ask if you're a good person, it's because you're a good person. But if you go around saying I am a good person, doesn't necessarily make you a good person. It just makes you a person who likes to hear the sound of your own voice. So it is 9:55, and I'm going to end this now. We're going to go to commercial, and I'm going to end this, and I will talk to you on Monday. I keep asking you guys, whatever subject you want me to touch on, please write in, because the more subjects you write about and I discuss, the longer this show stays on. So please understand that I'm looking for people to put in an input of what they want to hear, what they want to talk about, so that we can discuss it. This is what this forum is for. This forum, there's nothing you can't discuss in this forum. Anything you want to discuss, we could discuss. Okay? We are sorry. We are going into commercial now. It's a few minutes early. And then I'm going to let you go, and I will talk to you guys next Monday. Or no, I think we're going to be having a show either tomorrow. I'm not quite sure when we're going to have it. Tama Paloma, empath and clear sentience. Okay. That's a great subject to talk about. So we'll write it down for next week. Empath, we are all empathic in many ways, that I can tell you, because this is not our first rodeo here. Some of us are very young, but there's a lot of us that have been here for centuries. So we are all empathic in a certain way. We just don't even realize that we are. And the ones that do realize it, we are different things. Clairsentients are one, but we are different types of sentience. Some of us are time travelers. Some of us are dimensional travelers. Some of us travel in our dreams. Some of us do what is called mindscape, where you're sitting down and your mind goes, and you're in 5 different places at the same time. So I thank you so much for the subject. I would heed that, and we can discuss it next week. On Monday, we can discuss that particular subject, okay? Love and light to all of you. Namaste, but love and light. Wishing you love, happiness, joy, and light every single day, but especially on Mondays, because it is with Ori. So now we go to commercial, and I will talk to you on Monday.
Okay, hold on. I want to say about the shows that we have coming up. There is no show tomorrow.
Okay.
There's a show on Thursday with Angelic Whispers with Dr. Ron Bates.
Yes.
Then there's a show, dinner with others.
Okay.
That's going to be a new Friday show. And then on Saturday, there is the Women's Circle, the Door of Many Colors. That is on as well. So we would like you to stay tuned for those shows and look out. If you have not, please subscribe to our channel and refer and share. We really appreciate all of that good stuff.
And the channel is?
Also, we're on Spotify. So if you're listening to this show on YouTube and you happen to be wanting to travel, you can find us on Spotify, Food Alchemy Network. That is it for me saying that plug and peace. And I thank Ori from Coffee with Ori for doing his show tonight and all our guests out there. This has been Dr. D, and we will go to commercial. It's been wonderful. Blissful rising.
You're crazy. Have a good night, guys. Much love and light.
Good night, all.